Yeah.
Yeah, question number 43. Okay, so question 43, it's your network contains a Active Directory domain. The domain contains a user named admin1. All computers run Windows 10. You enable Windows PowerShell remoting on the computers. So on all computers, these 10 computers, they have PowerShell remoting is enabled.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to ensure that admin 1 can establish remote PowerShell connection to the computer. But the solution must use the principle of least privilege, you know. So here's again, you need to ensure that that admin 1 has least privileges on the target computer, on the computer which he is remotely managing. So to which group should you add admin 1? The first one is access control assistance operators, remote desktop users, power users, and remote desktop management users. So if you see uh, power users, they are not, we discussed in the previous question, they are not more relative. Here it says that they have more privileges, power users, so like unnecessary privileges. Power user is a group that is used to grant user administrative privileges on local computers, right? So this
Mm-hmm.
group has more permissions than necessary for admin 1 to establish remote PowerShell connection to the computers. So power user is not the relative one. Is option C is not correct. Remote desktop users can be correct one, or remote management user. Let's see what is access control assistance operators. So access control assistant operators. Access control assistant operators is a group that is used to grant users the ability to help with access control tasks. This group has more permissions than necessary for admin 1 to establish remote. So it's again, you know, access control assistant operators, they also have more privileges, but you only want the admin 1 to remotely manage the devices. So which one would you think is correct? Either it is remote desktop users or remote management users. Option
Remote management.
Because desktop user,
yeah.
they can, uh, I'm
It's
not sure.
yeah, remote desktop users. Remember they if I try, if you gave me a remote desktop connection, then I can do more settings. You know, I can access
Mm,
anything
mm,
on your computer, because
yes.
it allowed me. So I'm acting like an administrator. So here, remote desktop users, they also have more privileges. So all these three options, they are not correct. Well, remote management users, they only have the access to manage devices, you know. So
Yeah.
so remote management users, that is the correct option. They don't have, they can only manage remote devices. They cannot perform other tasks. They cannot change the settings, you know, other things. So with the least privilege principle, this one is correct. Remote desktop management users.
Okay.
Okay, so again, hotspot question.
It
Like
says
I
answer is B in there.
sorry,
The answer is B. Correct answer.
correct answer is D. No, correct answer is, they say remote desktop desktop users. But if you look remote desktop users, here I have explained why not remote desktop users. Remote desktop users is a group that is used to grant users the ability to log on to computers, right? Now, like I said, you have given me the opportunity to log into your computer remotely using remote desktop connections. Now, this group has more permission than necessary for admin 1 to establish. Like I said, I can access my computer remotely using a VPN connection, so I can do whatever I want with my computer because I'm accessing my own computer, remotely. So that is why remote desktop user is not would not be more relevant in this case. Remote desktop management users is only they. This is the only group that they can manage devices. Is that clear? Yeah.
Yeah.
Remote.
So hotspot question. So you have Microsoft Intune subscription. You are creating a Windows Autopilot deployment profile. Named Profile 1 is shown in the following exhibit. Profile 1 will be deployed to Windows 10 devices. So you are creating a profile, a profile for Windows devices, which is an autopilot deployment. Here is the lab. You can do this in this lab. Um, it is out of the box experience. Out of the box experience when you purchase a new device. So sometimes the company will directly post the devices to the user, to the employee house address. Yeah. And then when they log into their computer, so they will have automatically this screen, automatically see the screen, to join the computer to Azure AD. It can be done from, so the company, for example, you are purchasing devices from Dell. Yeah. So Dell will give you the device IDs, and then you will import those device IDs to your Intune. And when the device is connected to internet, it will automatically detect that this computer was purchased by this company, and hence you will be given, it will ask you minimum questions, and your device will be joined to Azure AD and Intune. So here is this out of the box experience. This one is also, like I said, deploying Windows with autopilot. You can perform this lab. How you can insert the device IDs, and then you can practice that. So these are the settings. So basics you just configure the name of the profile or the description. Yeah. So these are the main settings out of the box experience. Configure the out of the box experience with okay. So deployment mode is user driven, right? Join to Azure AD joined. So automatically the device will be joined to Azure AD. And Microsoft license hide, privacy setting is hidden, and hide account type is hidden, and user account type is standard, not administrator, right?
Yeah.
Now allow pre-provisioned deployment. So pre-provision deployment is also disabled, and language region is operating system default, automatically configure keyboard is yes, right? So make a note of this one, automatically configured keyboard, and apply device name template, so no, right? These two are important. Now the question is asking, users who deploy a device by using profile 1. So if a user deploy this profile, they will be prevented from modifying any desktop user settings, or they can create additional local users on the device. So if you see, can will they be able to create additional local users on the device? No, because if you see, user account type is standard, right?
Mhm.
Not an administrator, so cannot. This one is not correct. cannot create local users on the device. Can modify the settings, the desktop settings for all device users. So again, is a standard user, is not an administrator, so cannot modify the desktop settings for all users, right? So there could be different users. Other users can also use this device, and so he will not be able to change desktop settings for all users. And they can modify the desktop settings for only for themselves. So uh, the first one says, are they prevented from modifying any desktop settings? But the thing is, they are not. They can still modify their own desktop settings, right? Because it is not, I think, configured in the exhibit. So they can modify the desktop settings only for themselves. Yes, they can. So if you choose this one automatically gets incorrect, you know what I mean? Because if you can say that they can modify the settings for themselves, this
Because
means,
yeah, he can modify the desktop setting
yeah,
because he's standard user, so
yeah,
he can modify themselves.
yeah. So he can modify the his own desktop settings, and automatically this one gets incorrect because it says that prevented from modifying any desktop users. No, because he can modify his own desktop settings, right? Now
Mm.
here some people they argue computer names. Some says Cortana settings. Some say keyboard layout. So which one would you say? Which one is correct? If you see apply device name template, right? So
Yeah.
no. So device name template is not set, is not configured, yeah. And
Okay.
automatically configured keyboard. Remember, this is deployment setting, yeah. Deployment setting are pre-execution deployment settings. These are not the settings that you can change later or something. Yeah,
Mm.
these are when you are out of the box experience, when you are installing or updating your Windows for the first time. Yeah, so these are the settings, and you can't, it is everything you get, whatever is set by your administrator using this autopilot configuration profile.
Yeah.
So
Is
uh,
layout.
yeah, so it says automatically configure keyboard, yeah. So keyboard layout, of course you cannot, because the administrator has set to yes, right?
Yeah.
So that means that the administrator here is the controller. He has set the device to automatically configure, and you cannot change it on your own. So keyboard layout is incorrect here. If you see computer name, so
Yeah. So they can't change
yeah,
because
computer name cannot be changed as well, because it says in both cases, if here it says yes, then you can give a computer name or something. Let me show you here. This one, this is the out of the box experience, right? So like I said, basics, just the profile name, and then you go to the out of the box. So if you see here, apply device name. So if you apply device name, no, user still cannot change the device name, right? But if you
mm,
say yes, again you will have to give it a name, like a random name, like Contoso, then rand 4 for example, or rand 2, whatever. So the device will get a random name between that number, right? So still the device name cannot be changed by this user. So in both cases, the device name cannot be changed. So the only settings you are left is Cortana settings. In Cortana settings, you get almost everywhere. I have seen whenever you are configuring Windows for the first time, no matter you are admin or you are whatever, so you can change these settings. You can set Cortana, whether you want to use Cortana or you don't want to use Cortana settings.
okay.
Yeah, so the correct option here is Cardano settings. Question number 45. So it says you have a server named server 1 and computer that run Windows 10. Uh, okay, server 1 has Microsoft Deployment Toolkit. The Microsoft Deployment Toolkit, have you used this one? Yeah, these are in MD100 labs.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a Microsoft Deployment Toolkit is pre-installed. You don't have to download and install Microsoft Deployment Toolkit, but there is a lab, I think this one. In this lab, you will need to install another tool which is called Windows ADK, Windows Assessment Toolkit. You will need to download that one, that is used for deploying and automating tasks. Now, it says that server 1 has Microsoft Deployment Toolkit. Microsoft Deployment Toolkit is used for deploying Windows, for deploying applications and drivers, configuration settings, many more things. You can use Microsoft Deployment Toolkit on client devices. So you plan to upgrade the Windows 10 computers to Windows 11 by using the MDT deployment wizard. You need to create a deployment share on server 1. You will remember in MD100 you will need to create a deployment share, and then you deploy that in on a client device. You remember that lab, right? It is in
Yeah.
this lab. You go for this lab and do it. What should you do on server 1, and what are the minimum components you should add to MDT deployment share? To answer, select the appropriate options. Okay, so on server 1, what should you need to do first? Remember, I told you here Microsoft Deployment Toolkit, it has an extra feature that is called the Windows Assessment Toolkit, or Windows sorry ADK. Yeah, so that ADK you need to install that one. Here it doesn't say that Windows Assessment Toolkit is installed. So let's say, see, on server 1, import the deployment image servicing and management. So DISM is a command, you have used it in the labs in PowerShell module. So this one is not correct because you don't have Microsoft assessment and deployment toolkit. And then import the Windows autopilot into Windows PowerShell mode. I don't know what it is. There is no.
Yeah, but the Intune is doesn't involve in this
Yeah.
question.
Yeah, and if you see, yeah, it's Intune is cloud based, and it says we are doing it on server 1,
Yeah.
like local Active Directory. And install the Windows Assessment and Deployment Kit, Windows
Yeah.
ADK. Remember, I told you.
Yeah, that's the one is correct.
Yeah, so to deploy Windows or different other applications, you need um, Windows ADK as well, right? So Windows ADK is important, and here it doesn't say that Windows ADK is installed. So you need to install Windows ADK. So this one is the correct one. Install the Windows Assessment and Deployment Kit, and you can do that in when you go to settings. Let me show you here. I think I had opened it here. Windows Server. If I go to Windows Server, okay, let's go to control panel. Sorry, uninstall a program. No, it's not here. Yeah, it's here. So I update for Microsoft. No, It was installed on somewhere. I forgot where was it installed. Anyway, so you will see that you will see Windows as a Windows deployment toolkit in here in installed applications. And what you will
Okay.
have to do, you will have to click on it and change. And once changed, then you will get this option there. You can see like change, repair, change, and remove. So you will need to click on change, and when change, then you will have an option here what more features you want to add to Microsoft deployment toolkit. So there is Windows ADK. You just
Okay.
check on that one and just click next and finish, and Windows ADK will be installed. So it doesn't come, Windows ADK doesn't come by default with with MDT, right? So you will have to
Okay.
install it manually.
Install ADK, yeah.
Yeah, so the correct option is this one here. Okay, now add to MDT deployment share. One thing I should tell you, here it says Windows 11 image and package only, Windows 11 image and task sequence only, Windows 11 image, Windows 11 image task sequence only. So if you see here, it says what are the minimum components you should add to MDT deployment share. Now this is the MDT deployment share, and you are asked to add the minimum components, right? So minimum components, even if you look at the the things here, Windows 11 image, task sequence, and package, this is not the correct because you have added so many things, you know. So Windows 11 image. One thing I should tell you about the task sequence. Task sequence is essential. It should be added in every task, and task sequence is used for automating the tasks. Even if you are just deploying Windows, you still need to do a task sequence. So task sequence must be in all cases, right? In all case there must be a task sequence. So let's say Windows 11 image and package only. So if you just add Windows 11 image and package only, so we haven't added the task sequence. Task
Yeah.
sequence is not there, so this one is not correct. And Windows 11 image only, if you do a Windows 11 image only, task sequence is again not added. So task sequence, I told you, is important to automate the task, yeah, to install. You can add Windows 11 image only, or you can add Windows 11 image and package. But if there is no task sequence, that means the the deployment will not even work. It will not go ahead, right? Because
Yeah.
you haven't told the system what to do next. And task sequence is there to tell the computers, to tell the client machines what to do, right?
Mm.
Yeah, that is a later thing, that you can install different applications, and in the task sequence you can also explain that, that which application should be installed and how that application should be installed. That is also done in the task sequence. But task sequence, like I said, even if you want to install just Windows, no drivers, no applications, nothing at all, task sequence is like a road, showing the road to the
Mm.
client machine where to go. So if you just add Windows 11 image, right? But Windows 11 image is not like, for example, let's take an example. I give you a CD of Windows 11, right? And I
Mhm.
didn't tell you what to do with this, so you will be confused, and you can just keep it. You will not make it of use, right? So because you don't know, I haven't told you what to do with it. So the task sequence is there to tell you what to do with this Windows CD. Yeah.
Okay.
So task sequence. So this one is correct. Windows 11 image and task sequence only.
Okay. Got it.
Okay. Now this one is you have Microsoft Deployment Toolkit, server named MDT1, So MDT is Microsoft Deployment Toolkit, and that is a server named MDT1. That is just a name. When computers start from the light touch pre-execution image and connect to MDT1, because MDT1 is the deployment share, I believe, yeah. So the welcome screen appears as shown in the following exhibit. This welcome screen will appear on the client machines because they need to deploy this light touch PE ISO image, right? Now the task here is asked that you need to prevent the welcome screen from appearing when the computer connect to MDT1. So this screen will appear on each computer, but your job is to disable this screen. The system should straight away go to the installation process, right? It won't ask for this one, configure with static IP address or this run the deployment wizard to install. You need to disable this one. And how can you do that? So now, what is light touch pre-execution? You know what is light touch? He explained in the video. Light, yeah, light touch is it says as a lightweight Windows pre-installation environment. It's like used for faster, for quicker responses. You know, the boot time is less. You know, and the operating system installation requires less space. The installation process is quicker. You know, all these things. So this is a light touch pre-execution mode. You can you can read this. I have explained here in details. You can read this later. So which three actions should you take from this? You need to select from this one. So if you see modify the task sequence, that, like I told you, task sequence is very important in all cases. Yeah, in previous question I told you. So from here I should tell you that task sequence is one of them, but you need to put in sequential way. Yeah, not straight away task sequence. So before task sequence, there should be something else. Now replace the ISO image. Now if you just put the ISO image it contains all the setup files, you know, for example Windows installation. So it contains all the files, and but here it is asking you need to prevent the welcome screen from appearing when the computer connect to MDT1. So you know, it's a common sense. If you replace the ISO image, that means like take out the Windows 11 one CD and put another CD, and that will disable this one. That does it make any sense? No. Even if you change, no matter how many times you change the ISO image, it won't disable this screen, right? Your job is not to change the operating system. Your job is to disable this screen.
So nothing
So
related to replace the iOS image, yeah.
sorry.
So nothing is related to
Yeah.
replace the iOS image, yeah.
Yeah, so ISO image will not disable the screen. And if you see modify the custom settings dot ini file. So this file is custom settings. This is used for what do you call, for custom settings. For example, there is a lab in which we have done this in MD100. You need to export the start menu and you know, the desktop settings, all these settings, and then it will create a .ini file, and then you can edit it, and you know, you can change the configuration for other computers, then other computers they can deploy. So it is more related to desktop and start menu settings, the system settings.
Yeah.
So again, it is not related to disable the screen.
Yeah.
We don't want to change the desktop or desktop settings or start menu settings. We want to disable this screen. If you see modify the bootstrap.ini file. So bootstrap.ini file is a is a file that is used for in which we can configure how the deployment should be deployed, how the deployment share should be deployed. And that is the file, the bootstrap.ini file. It is, and it is responsible for initializing the light touch p environment. And there is an option you can see, skip bdd welcome. So this is the bdd welcome screen. You can check this one and you can skip it. You can enable the skip bdd welcome, and the user will not be able to see the screen. The computer will start installing, it will start deploying the windows automatically if you choose these settings. So you can disable these settings in this file, when bootstrap.ini file. You will need to remember this. Skip bdd welcome in bootstrap.ini file. So and update deployment share. So yes, you need to update deployment share, but first when you make some changes, yeah, if you haven't to make any changes, then you don't need to update deployment share, right? So the first one would be modify the bootstrap.ini file. Now you have modified the bootstrap.ini file, because first, remember, first you create the MDT share, right? When
Yeah.
you create the MDT share, then after that you can modify the bootstrap. So now you have modified the bootstrap. Then the modifications will not take effect if you do not update the deployment share, because the deployment share is a shared folder, is a shared directory which can be accessed by all computers, by all clients, right? And they use this directory to deploy Windows, to take configuration in deployment share, configuration files, deployment files, settings, drivers, all these things are there in the deployment share. So if you modify the deployment share, then you will have to update the deployment share as well, so that all the computers get an updated version of the deployment share. So the first one is modify the bootstrap, and the second option would be update the deployment share, right? Update the deployment share. And the third one would be the task sequence. What would you say?
No, but once you modify the screen, welcome screen,
Yeah.
bootstrap. When you use the bootstrap, then you have to set up the task sequence,
Yes.
and then you have to update. Then you won't see that screen.
Exactly. So if you modify the bootstrap, right? If you modify the bootstrap and you update the deployment share, that means that the task sequence is not updated, while the task sequence is also a part of the deployment share, right?
Yeah.
So once you are done with the bootstrap, and then you modified the task sequence as well, after that, then you can update. Once
Correct.
you are finished with all your editing, all your modifications, then you can update the deployment share, because updating is the final stage, yeah. But after updating the deployment share, we do nothing. It's ready to use for computers.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the first one is this one, modify the bootstrap, then modify the task sequence, and then finally update the deployment share. Okay, question number 47. Okay. You use I have I forgot this lab. I did it once. You need to. Okay, let's read the question. You use Windows Admin Center to remotely administer computers that run Windows 10. When connected to Windows Admin Center, you receive the message shown in the following exhibit. This site is not secure. So this is a screenshot that has been taken from the site when you are accessing the site. Yeah, so you need to prevent the message from appearing when you connect to Windows Admin Center. To which certificate store you should import the certificate. Now you have these three certificates, and I will try. If you can make a note of this one, I will try to find it again, and then I will show you how to add this certificate um, to your store, right? So client authentication issuers, these are the certificate issuers, right? They are not someone that use like they are not the users, right? Issuers and users are different things. They issue certificates, they issue authentic certificates, and then their certificates, the certificates that they have issued, you can use them for different purposes. So option A is not correct, right? Then personal certificate is something that you can store, but it will make your device more vulnerable. That means it can authenticate any user or any device, right? And it will accept any website. So um, personal is also not correct. And trusted root certification authorities, these are the these are the certificates you will have to add to your store. To which certificate store should you import the certificate? So the certificate you will have to store in trusted root certification authorities, and these are in certificates. Let me show you. I think I manage user certificates.
But isn't this certificate is used only Android or
Sorry.
the trusted root certificate? Is it only for Android or
No,
can
no, no,
be?
no. It is for accessing website. If you like someone is connecting to remotely, to this website, to let's say the Contoso website or the Contoso devices, right? So they need they see this in the beginning. They can still log in, and they can still go to at some point, but here it is giving this option, this site is not secure. And this might seems that someone's trying to fool you or steal any info you send to the server. So this means that this server is not trusted. You can't trust this server, and if you are communicating with the server, that means that you are exchanging information with this server. So you need to add this server to the trusted root certificate. This one, you see, I told you, uh, it's this one. So personal, you can use certificates to personal. These are the certificates that is being added to personal, and this one is the trusted root certificate. So you will need to use the to download the certificate and add to this one, to trusted root certificate authorities. Okay,
Yeah.
so this one is correct. Trusted root. Even you can see, you can read all these details later. Okay, question number 48. You have an Azure AD tenant named Contoso.com that contains the devices shown in the following table. So these are the devices. Device 1, device device 1 Windows 11 and is registered, right? Azure AD status is registered, mobile device management MDM none. So he's not enrolled in Intune, right? Device 2 is joined Windows 10 and is joined and is also not enrolled in Intune. Device 3 is joined and is enrolled in Intune as well. So Contoso.com contains the Azure AD groups shown in the following table. So group 1 has members group 2 and device 1 and device 3. So if it says group 2, so you see group 2 has device 2, so that means device 1, device 2 and device 3. So group 1 has all devices, device 1, device 2 and device 3.
Yeah. Mhm.
And group 2 has only device 2, right? So you add the Windows Autopilot deployment profile. The profile is configured as below, right? So this is the profile that has been. So what is the profile? Okay, leave the description. Out of the box experience, self deploying preview, join the Azure AD joined, skip AD connectivity, check no. Okay, so skip AD connectivity is set to no. Language options, operating system default, automatically configure keyboard, yes. Microsoft software, privacy setting, hide, account options, user account type, standard, allow, white glove, OB, no. Apply device name, no. So this is included groups, group 1. So for each of the following statements, select yes if it's true, otherwise. So if you see device 1 starts in out of the box experience mode, the device will be deployed by using autopilot. What do you think? You see device 1
No,
is registered, yeah. Device 1 is registered and
but
even
not
not
in
enrolled in Intune, yeah. So device 1 will not be, and device one will not be deployed by using autopilot, so that is no, right?
Yeah.
And if device 2 starts in the out of the box experience mode, the device will be deployed by using autopilot. So remember, autopilot is managed from Intune, but device 2 is also not enrolled in Intune. So if not enrolled in Intune, so how can the autopilot deployment be deployed, right?
Yeah.
So cannot even device 2 cannot be deployed with the autopilot deployment. So if device 3 starts in the out of the box experience, the device will be deployed by using autopilot. And if you see device 3, remember device 3, where is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, device
what
3
was
is a member, is enrolled in Intune, and that is why the autopilot deployment can be deployed. So that one was, I think, easy one. Okay. Okay, your network contains an Active Directory domain. The domain contains 1,000 computers that run Windows 11. You need to configure the remote desktop settings of all the computers. The solution must meet the following requirements. Okay, so you need to configure remote desktop settings for all computers. Right. Prevent the sharing of clipboard contents. So when someone gain a remote desktop connection to these devices, so prevent the sharing of clipboard contents. Clipboard contents will not be displayed. You know, clipboard is this is the clipboard. These contents will not be. They will not be. Anything you copy is added to the clipboard. So you need to disable this one for remote desktop users, and ensure that users authenticate by using the network level authentication. So which two nodes of the group policy management editor should you use? Okay, connections, device and resource direction licensing. Okay, profiles, RD connection, broker, remote desktop session environment, and security. So they have said, okay, security.
I think, yeah, that too is right. Remote session environment and security.
Let's see which one is correct one. So the security node, you said the security node, right? Security node encompasses by essential settings for enforcing network level authentication, which ensures user authentication using NLA, network level authentication. The remote session environment node houses the settings to prevent clipboard redirection, effectively disabling the sharing of clipboard contents. Connection, well, option A, connections, and option B, device and resource redirection, might seem relevant to the given requirements. They are not most appropriate choices for configuring remote desktop settings. Okay, so they say that the correct options are these ones: connections and device resource redirection. So here it says that these could, you can also configure these ones from these two options as well, you know, connections and device resource redirections, but the most appropriate ones are the one that has been already chosen: remote session environment and security. So from these two you can change these settings. Let's find out. There is a website. Oh, okay, here. So if you see connections, in connections you can't see anything that will limit the clipboard contents. Like there is no such thing that you can disable the clipboard or network level authentication. None of them is listed here. So
The connection is all right. I think
yeah.
device and secure redirection.
Yeah, so if you check security, in security you can check that there is require user authentication for remote using uh, network level authentication. So you need to enable it from here, and that's it. That's configured. So security is one. Security is correct. Yeah. Let's go to device resource and redirections. If you go to device, do not allow video capture. Do not.
Yeah, that is, do not
Yeah, this one.
allow clipboard. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
restriction. Yeah.
do not allow clipboard. So these two answers, the first one here, they say the correct options are these: connections and device and resource redirections. So they are not correct ones. They are incorrect.
So the correct one is security and device
Yeah.
resource redirection.
The
Yeah.
green ones: remote desktop, remote session environment, and security. These are the correct settings you can choose.